Hello, welcome to the Biffsugar podcast. My name's Alison and this podcast is about knitting and crochet and hand dyeing yarn. And you can find me on Instagram as Biffsugar Yarns and on Ravelry as Biffsugar. And it's been quite a long time since my last podcast. Not really sure why. I think every time I was about to do one, life would just get in the way. So yeah, it just hasn't happened, unfortunately. And also we've been in the midst of GCSEs in this family. My daughter's been taking her GCSEs, but they actually finished today. In fact, she is currently finished. She had her last exam this morning, which was physics, and her and her friends have now gone out for the afternoon to celebrate, and yeah, it's all over, thank goodness. And I think she's done incredibly well. It's a really stressful time, isn't it, for them? And although it's, you know, it's not been plain sailing, I think she's managed it all really well, and I hope she gets the results she deserves, because you know, she seems to have worked really hard, and she must just be massively relieved that it's all over. And now we can just get back to normal life, whatever that is. It seems like exams take up an awful lot of time out of people's lives. I know there was a lady contacted me on Instagram and said that I think she has 4 children, and her children have just been doing exams for however many years, like years and years on end. So she has children at various different ages, some doing degrees, some doing A-levels, some doing GCSEs, and it really dominates your life, I think. So it's nice that it's all over, and I guess we do it all again in a couple of years' time when she takes her A-levels. My son's 13, so he won't be doing his exams for 3 years, but yeah, and it's such a beautiful day as well, a lovely day to finish and to go out and have nice time with your friends and to celebrate. So well done to everybody who's done their GCSEs or their A-levels. So the sun is shining and the sky is blue and it looks lovely out there. So I'm going to start today by not showing you some knitting straight away, but I'm going to talk about something really exciting that I've been involved in. It was a collaboration. A gorgeous lady called Marilisa contacted me, and she has a shop on Etsy called Spool Stories, and in fact she has a little badge. There it is. Her little shop logo and badge, and she contacted me and she asked me if I would like to do a collaboration where she would do the sewing side of it and I would do the yarn dyeing side of it. And I said yes, that was very nice of her to ask me. And so she decided to make this beautiful basket, this gorgeous yarn basket, which I just love. It's got her little shop name on the inside, and it's got this gorgeous polka dot edging. The fabric is lovely. It's kind of like a bluey grey, and it's so pretty. And she also made a little lavender sachet which smells gorgeous to go with it, and a beautiful little shell stitch marker, and that all comes with it. So she made this gorgeous basket, and then I dyed up some yarn to go with it. And I made a sock set. So this is the yarn that I dyed to go with the basket. And this yarn I can tell you some of the inspiration behind the yarn. I'll put that in there so you can see it. There it is. The yarn is called Athena, and I dyed it up because I was inspired by Marilisa lives in Athens, and I looked up the goddess Athena, and who was the patron of Athens. It was all very fascinating, the things I found out about Athena. And it turns out Athena is also the goddess of craft and weaving. So I just thought, well, this is amazing. The whole thing just came together because I'd also been reading, I'll show you actually because I've now finished it. I'd also been reading this book, The Island, which is set in, not in Athens, but in Crete, one of the Greek islands. So I was feeling very, inspired by that kind of landscape and Greece and hot summers and blue seas. And so those were the colours that came out of the dye pot on that occasion. So you will receive, if you order this sock set called Athena, the Athena sock set, and this gorgeous yarn basket to put them in with the sachet and the stitch marker, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. And these are in both of our shops. So they are in Spool Stories shop, which is on Etsy, and they are in my shop, which is Biffsugar Yarns on Etsy. And there is a small quantity of each in both shops. So thank you, Marilisa. Also, she also now has a podcast. She's just done her first ever podcast, which I've watched, and I'd only communicated with her through email, and so to see her in real life was really lovely. She is adorable. Go and watch her podcast because she makes the most beautiful things. She knits and she sews. Obviously she makes her project bags and notions pouches and all those beautiful things in her shop, but she also makes clothing. So she's really inspiring. Although I don't make clothing, I do have a sewing machine, and I have made like a couple of things for the children when they were little, but I've never made myself any clothing. But I do like to watch people making clothing, and I'm inspired by people who do, so who knows, maybe one day I will. But yeah, go and have a look at her podcast because she is gorgeous and adorable and makes the most inspiring projects. So go and check her out, and do check out that kit in our shops and check out her bags. And let me just show you what else she sent me as a little gift. This beautiful pouch, which has this little foldy out flat bit so you can fit quite a lot in there. And she sent me some of her hand-dyed yarn, which is so cute. Very mermaidy. And one of her little badges, which you can get in her shop as well. And this, I love this because it makes the most satisfying noise when you put the poppers in. Listen. Oh, that snap. It's very satisfying. I can't find it on that side. Yeah, very satisfying. So yes, these are also in her shop. She sells these as well, and all sorts of other things, needle holders and gorgeous bags, sort of different things that not everybody's making. So go and check out her gorgeous shop. So yeah, so that was the first thing to show you today. Now I'm going to show you a bit of what I've been working on knitting and crochet wise. I've had a bad shoulder, so I haven't been knitting and crocheting an awful lot. I've had a bad neck and shoulder, and also down into my arm. I'm thinking it's a knitting related injury, but I'm not sure. maybe some of you might be able to shed some light on that if you've had a similar injury. So the thing I've put most of my work on in the last few weeks has been my Room Shawl. So this is a pattern by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade, and I have already made her Spindrift shawl, which is gorgeous. And I have got a whip, which is her quill shawl, which is a DK weight shawl, which is kind of on the back burner for now till probably autumn, when I'll pick it up again. So yeah, this is the Room Shawl, and I have loved working on this. I think I wasn't that far in. I think that's where I was last time, sort of around there. So I'm basically now on the last section, which is all now. I've finished with this colour, so I'm using my hand dyed yarn for this. The paler colour is Selkie, and the bluey teal colour is the Kraken, and I'm now just on the edging, which is all going to be in the Kraken. That's the darker edging. And I'm knitting this on my carbons, which I do love the carbons. I like the tips. The cord is fine once you've got quite a lot of stitches on it, but I wasn't so thrilled with it at the beginning because it was quite out of control. It wasn't behaving itself properly, but yeah, the Room Shawl is gorgeous to knit. It's got this beautiful little simple lace panel down the centre, which I don't know if you can see it if I hold it up. That's not an attractive look, is it? That goes all down the centre, which obviously will probably show better when it's blocked. But it's a really lovely knit. I've really enjoyed it. I've found it so relaxing, and it's just got that little bit of detail, so it's not, you know, you're not going to get bored, but it's also not overly taxing, so you're not, you know, worrying about not having the right number of stitches and all that sort of business. So yeah, so I am very, very close to finishing it, and I love it. And do you know, yeah, sorry about that. My iPad said I'd run out of storage, so I don't know how much storage I'm going to have. I'll try and get this finished. So what I was going to say was, I haven't met a Helen Stewart shawl that I didn't like. In fact, you know the Impressionists shawl that she's just done, which was a mystery knit along, and I'm not very good with mysteries or surprises. I like to know what I'm getting normally, but I've seen people's versions of that and it was just so beautiful, so I'm kind of tempted by that one next. So yes, the Room Shawl will probably be finished very soon, and I'll be able to show you it all blocked out. The next project, I feel like I've got a rush now because I don't know how much more storage I've got, but I've been crocheting. Next one is a crochet project, the Between the Lines shawl, and I showed you it last time. This is the project that requires two different coloured sheep's wool, and I had some struggle to pick which two colours I wanted, but yeah, I have put quite a lot of work into this, but because all of it is double crochet, so single crochet in US terms, it takes a long time to grow. I'm getting all tangled up with myself here, I'm not teasing you, but this, I've put all this work on. I can't remember where I was up to last time, but I feel like that's quite a bit of growth since you last saw it. It's just, it does take a long time to get bigger. So this is going to be a longer term project, and it is beginning to do the fade. It is a slower, because you're using two at the same time, obviously it takes you twice as long to get through them, and because the stitches are not very tall, it's not using up as much yarn. You're not getting through it as quickly as perhaps you would with a different crochet project. So I am using the Turkish Delight, and I can't remember what that one is. Is it not blueberry something or other, is it? Let me have a look. Brambleberry, that one. So I'm using those two, one from the inside, one from the outside. And as you can see, that's the end where I started. So it is beginning to fade now, because obviously that's the bit I'm most excited about, is seeing the fade come into it. I did wonder, didn't I, about the colours of this. I wasn't sure about them. I do like them as an idea. I'm not sure if they're for me, and I think I'm gonna hang fire in making a decision about what I feel about it until the end. I'm liking it. I love it. It's quite a thing in that you have to kind of commit yourself, I find, to sitting down to do it, because it is slow growing. But once you're into it, it's quite relaxing. And this pattern, oh by the way, this pattern is on Ravelry. It's only like £1 or something. It's a sheep's yarn pattern. Tammy Canavan Soldat is the designer, but it's been designed for sheep, specifically to use with sheep's wool. So yeah, this is going to take me some time, I reckon. So I don't know how long it's going to take to be finished, but the fabric it's making is really lovely, I have to say. It's nice and squidgy, and it's only getting squidgier. So although it's cotton, I mean, I've never used sheep's wool before, so this is all new to me, but it's lovely. I'm really pleased with it. So yeah, that's that one. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is, of course, we had a royal wedding, didn't we, in between the podcasting last and now. And oh, I love a royal wedding, and it was all very exciting, and I decided that I was going to cast on a project while I was watching the royal wedding. So I decided to cast on a pair of socks, and these are the My Cup of Tea socks. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's by Robin Lynn, and I decided to use, of course, my royal wedding colourway, because I think that's why I dyed it up, really, so I could have an excuse to cast something on during the royal wedding. And this is how it's working up. So I'm really pleased with it. I haven't made a pattern sock before. In fact, I've only made one full pair of socks before. I want to be a bigger sock knitter than I am, but currently I'm not a big sock knitter. I don't know why. I wish I was, really. I think I need to put more effort into it. So I thought maybe if I did a pattern sock, it might, you know, inspire me, because I see everybody making these gorgeous pattern socks now. So yeah, I seem to be able to be doing it all right. It's coming up beautifully. This is the yarn worked up without the pattern on it, so you can see I'm really pleased with it. It's making me very happy to look at that knit up. It's so pretty. Yeah, so yeah, I cast these on. I haven't done much work on them, but certainly when I was watching the wedding, I was only still on the cuff, really, because I was too busy watching the wedding. And it was just lovely. I mean, I was watching it on my own because the boys were out I don't know what they were doing, and my daughter was at work because she'd have probably watched it with me, but of course it was on the Saturday, so she was at work. So it was just me watching it on my own. My husband went out and bought me a Harry and Meghan mug to put my tea in, which was lovely. So I sat there with my cup of tea, and then later on we had a cream tea. So I'd had this pattern, the My Cup of Tea socks pattern, in my Ravelry favourites for some time. And I thought, well, when I cast on, I best do the My Cup of Tea, because what's more British than a nice cup of tea and a royal wedding? So I put the two together, and this is what I'm getting. So I'm pleased with that. So yeah, I had a lovely day. I thought it was very emotional, the wedding, and I thought that, gosh, I thought that Meghan's mum was amazing. You know, like, imagine turning up to the royal wedding on your own, basically. Because although she came with Meghan, didn't she, in the car, but then she had to walk into the church on her own. And there's, you know, Prince Charles and Camilla, and I mean, it must have been the most surreal day for her. And she was obviously really emotional, but she kept it together. I thought she was amazing. And yeah, I just thought they make such a gorgeous couple, and it was very sad though, wasn't it, not having Diana there. I had my Diana mug out as well as my Harry and Meghan mug, just so I could bring them all together. I think I'm getting a bit too emotional about it. Maybe I best move on to other things. The dress, should we talk about the dress? I thought she looked beautiful. She always looks beautiful. I think like a lot of people, I was a little bit disappointed with the dress. I think we had very high expectations of the poor girl, and I think Kate's dress was so perfect in such a classic sort of simple way, but so beautiful that it was hard for Meghan to kind of do better than that. But I think it was so plain, and then there was the issue of it not being like perhaps the most perfect fit. I don't know, I think she's looked better in other things, but that it in no way detracted from the wonderful day and how happy they seemed. I thought in the evening she looked stunning in that Stella McCartney white gown, and her hair was more gorgeous, and yeah, I think she really pulled it off at the end of the day. So yeah, so may they have a long happy marriage. Just to say this, my socks are living in this project bag, which is by Daisy Stitches, which is a shop on Etsy. I'm not sure if she's taking a break at the moment, but this is my little cat bag, and it's got my favourite murder pin badges on. One says stay sexy, don't get murdered, and the other is the sweet baby angel pin badge, which those of you who are listening to My Favourite Murder podcast, who are murderinos, will understand what those pin badges mean. Okay, so the next project, and basically this is the last project I'm going to show you today. This is another crochet shawl, and it is from the Crochet Project, and it's a new project that I started. I said I wanted to make something out of here, probably at least 2 things out of here, but I loved this shawl, which is, I think it's the parallel line shawl. Yeah, it's the parallel line shawl. It's also this one on the back. So of course I had to order another sheep's wool to make it, which was such a shame. So I did like the colour that it's made in. It says that it's made with sheep's wool, the one in the book, and they have used minty black velvet for this one. And these colours are more my kind of colours, but I had seen another sheep's wool, which is called, It's not minty black velvet. It's, what is it? Green tea tipple. So it looks similar, but the minty black velvet goes into a black, whereas this just goes to a dark grey and then through to like a greeny teal colour. And so I'm going to show you how far I've got. How far have I got? Let me see, where does it start? Get it the right way round, it'd help, wouldn't it? There we go. Right, so this is exciting because unlike with the crochet between the lines shawl, which I feel I've been working on way longer than this, of course this is using up more yarn because the stitches are bigger and it's really getting through the yarn. So already you can see that I'm fading into the grey there. I think I'm using a 3.5mm hook for that. And yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's kind of got a 2-row pattern repeat for the lace, which, you know, once you've got it, you're away. And then every however many rows, you go back into this sort of panel section that runs throughout it. So it's just a combination of that, and it's sort of on the diagonal, so you're increasing and decreasing at both sides as you go. And I really like it. I couldn't really see the pattern to start with as I was making it, and I was thinking, am I doing this right? Because I couldn't really see the lace bit very well, but now that I've made more of it, I can see it coming out, and I think when it blocks, it's going to look amazing. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, I think that's going to work up pretty quick. So that is, what did I say it was? Green tea tipple. So I think it's going to come out similar to the one, but it's not quite the same colour. Minty black velvet goes into a full black, I'm pretty sure. Unless maybe this has replaced that, because it is very similar, isn't it? Very similar. Anyway, yeah, so again, I do love the feel of this when it's worked up, because I'm never sure with cotton, but it has such a lovely feel about it. It's got a great squidge going on there, which I like. So yeah, I think that's going to be an easy, quick make. And also, I'm just going to show you, there is another one in there that I really like, which is this one. Because I do like a triangular shawl, but I'm also conscious that I'm making so many shawls, and I don't know, I do love making them. That's called Diffraction, that one. That looks beautiful. That would look good in a sheep's wool. How many sheep's wools could I buy, do you think? Anyway, yeah, I've got through all that quite quick now, haven't I? I've rushed it a little bit, but I don't want to run out of storage. So let me show you. I have bought a couple of things. I'm not a big purchaser normally, but there are a couple of things that I've treated myself to, which I'll show you. The first is I have bought myself some Lay Family yarn, which I'm always coveting on Etsy and Instagram, always seeing people with their yarn, and I went to get this. This is gorgeous. It's the Vintage China, and it is 75 superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. It's my first stellina. You see it? It's so pretty. And they did do it as a sock set, but the sock set had sold out, but I thought, oh, never mind. I'll probably put it in a shawl, won't I? Because I do love a shawl, if you'd not noticed. So yeah, Vintage China is the colourway, and it's gorgeous. It's got quite a high twist on it. It's 100 grams, 400 metres. and it's absolutely stunning. It's just, I don't know, there's something quite magical about it. It's understated, it's not, you know, in your face, but it's really subtly beautiful. I really want to do something special with that, because I think it really warrants being shown off to its best ability. So I'm going to have to have a good think about what to do with that. Maybe like a nice winter cowl or something, because it's got that sort of, it's a little bit like a Christmassy colour in a way, like a muted Christmassy colour. I'm only thinking that because it's got the sparkle in it. It's making me think of Christmas in June. I mustn't do that, must I? But yeah, isn't that stunning? Gorgeous. I can see more Lay Family yarn in my future. Oh, that's very lovely. Anyway, the second thing that I treated myself to was a new pin badge, and this is it. Be Brave. It's my pin badge, and this is by Bombay Forest. They are on Etsy, that's where I bought it, and they're on Instagram. I follow them on Instagram, and they make some lovely things, gorgeous enamel things, necklaces as well, and all sorts of bits and bobs. They have some gorgeous designs. You can get this, I got the gold one, but you can get it in silver as well. And I posted it on Instagram, and somebody said to me, oh, what are you being brave about? And because, you know, I suppose you think, well, why would you be attracted to that? And I think, do you know, I think now I'm braver now than I've ever been, and I think it's age that's done that to me, because I think I'm not so bothered about what people think anymore than perhaps I used to be. But I still think I need this little reminder every day to be brave, because being brave is a kind of everyday event, isn't it? And, you know, I still get stupid little hang-ups that worry me, but I'm much better at getting over them now and getting on with it. And yeah, I think it's just, I bought it just as a little reminder to me to be brave. Like, for example, when Marilisa contacted me and asked me to do a collaboration, my first instinct was like, oh gosh, I couldn't do that. You know, I can't do that. I'm not clever enough to do that. And I'll let the side down, and she'll produce something beautiful, and I won't be able to contribute positively to it, and you know, it'll be disappointing, and that would have been my normal go-to response. But now I just think, well, what's the worst that could happen? And that's kind of where I go now, is like, what's the worst that could happen? And then usually it's not that bad, is it? So you just get on with it. So my Be Brave badge is just my daily reminder to keep being brave, just keep doing it. It's taken me a long time to get to this point, but now I'm here. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to feel more confident and less bothered by what people think, because at the end of the day, you've got to make yourself happy, haven't you? Nobody else. So yes, so those are my purchases, just 2 little purchases this time. And I was just going to tell you, I did mention earlier, I finished my book. I finished The Island by Victoria Hislop. Not a book that I would have chosen probably normally. It was recommended to me by a friend, and I loved it. And yeah, it was a great story. If you don't know, I know a lot of you mentioned that you'd read it. It's not a new book, so I'm sort of very late to the party on it, but it's about it's based on a not a true story, it's a fiction written around a leper colony, which was a tiny little island just off the coast of Crete, and it's called Spinalonga. And Victoria Hislop visited there, she's the author, and she was so moved by the island, and you know, she decided to create a fiction around what it must have been like to have had leprosy and been sent to this island and had to live there. And she has written the most beautiful story about it. So if you haven't read The Island and you're looking for a summer book, particularly if you're going to Greece, or even if you're not, I would highly recommend it. It's very good. So now I'm able to have started my I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is the book, I mentioned it to you last time. It's a book about, it's a true story. It's a non-fiction about the Golden State Killer, who was a serial killer who was active in the 70s and 80s in America. And this lady wrote this book, the lady who wrote the book, this book was about trying to find him because he'd never been found. Very, very sadly, the author of this book died. And then this year, in fact, like the week before or after I bought the book, they caught somebody for the murders. And so now, I mean, he's in jail, but they've got to go to trial, which could take years, I guess, to build the case around him. But we do know a little bit about him. So now, reading this book now, knowing what we do about him. So, for example, he was an ex-police officer. And so when she wrote this book, she didn't know who he was. She never got to find out who he was, which is a story all in itself, isn't it? But when you read it knowing what you know, and then it's just it's fabulous and fascinating, and it just adds another element to it. So if you like true crime, I haven't got that far into it yet, but it's very good and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, it's I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Sorry, I didn't say. I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. I think you can get it on Amazon Prime. I did anyway. So finally, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the shop. There is going to be a shop update. Today is Friday. I don't know when it'll be. It might be Saturday. It's not going to be tonight probably. Might be Saturday, might be Sunday. But I'm just going to show you a few things that are in the shop already that you can have a look at, and then I'll announce on Instagram when my shop update is. So this is a new colourway that is in the shop now. This is called Lost at Sea, and it's available on MCN, Merino Nylon and DK, and it's a dark grey, but it's got a definite kind of, it's a bluey grey, I would say. It's got a blue base to it, but it's a dark grey, and I love this. I'm thinking, do you know what I'm thinking? Do you think I'm thinking a shawl for winter out of that? And I started to think, wow, because everybody's using this mohair with their yarn, aren't they? I quite fancy a mohair shawl for winter, so maybe I might dye up some mohair to go with it. That's something to think about, isn't it, for later on? Maybe not for right now. So yeah, this is Lost at Sea, dark grey. We've got some seagull in there, which is lovely. This is proving quite popular. We've got puffin, very, 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 very speckly puffin. These are all on a few different bases in the shop. This is, I was going to say watermelon. I don't do watermelon. This is water lily. Gorgeous. Water lily. We've got, oh, clover. Pretty clover. We've got Indian Princess. And I've also dyed up some more Indian Princess on Merino Nylon because that had sold out. So there'll be some of Merino Nylon Indian Princess going in the shop on the weekend. And then we've also got some Royal Wedding, which I'm knitting my socks out of. That's in the shop now. If there are any quantities of things that you want that you don't see enough of in the shop, do contact me through the shop. and just let me know and I can dye up quantities for you. So if you see something but there's only one skein or whatever, or there's a base you wanted it on that I stock, then just let me know and I'll see what I can do. I'm just going to show you this. This is one I've dyed up to go in this week. This is Prim. I have dyed it before, but I've never dyed it on DK. So I just wanted to show you the craziness of Prim on DK. Look at that. That's gorgeous, isn't it? So that will be going in the shop update. Oh, you've got to put it on your head, haven't you? Yeah. So there you go. So that's everything, I think. I've decided to start a yarn club, a monthly yarn club in my shop. It's open now, so it's open for pre-orders. So every month I'm going to dye up a unique mystery colourway, and I will give you the name of the colourway, but I won't say, you know, what it's going to contain, but you may get a sense of it from the name or not. So this month the listings are there already in the shop, and so it's for July, so it's now open for July's yarn club. So it will close at the end of June and then the yarn will go out at the beginning of July. And the title of this first yarn club is Love Island. And you can probably guess from that yes, I am watching Love Island, which I've never watched before. And I decided to watch it because I thought, what's all the fuss about? I don't understand. I don't even know how many years it's been on. It could have been on for years. I don't know any of the previous contestants. I didn't know anything about it. I just thought, I'm just going to watch one. And I'm sorry to say, but I'm hooked. I'm hooked on it. So me and my daughter watch Love Island every night. And it's been quite nice, actually, because it's been a bit of relief at the end of the day from all the stress of revision and exams and things for her. So it's been nice to just, you know, curl up together on the sofa at the end of the day and watch something pretty mindless. But yeah, I've been inspired by Love Island to dye up some yarn. So the listings are in the shop now. So go over and take a look if you would like some of that. And yeah, as I say, so that yarn will go out early July. Yeah, I'm going to try and I always say this, I'm going to try and podcast sooner next time, but hopefully I will. Oh, I don't know, I'll get round to it when I get round to it, won't I? But in the meantime, enjoy all your making and your crafting and have happy days, and I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.